Well, last week we lost one of the real titans of the liberty movement.
Yes.
David Boaz, for several decades, the executive vice president of the Cato Institute. I knew David a bit, but I wish I'd known him better. You know, he was a real inspiration as a sort of generalist who could talk about any area of policy and communicate the free market libertarian message just perfectly. He was a great promoter of talent. He was a great person to work for. I mean, he led the sort of intellectual side of the Cato Institute peerlessly for many, many years. And I think, you know, the thing that always came across to me, and I've seen this in some of the other obituaries and so on, is that he thought of himself as a reasonable radical. He was a guy who made libertarianism seem not out there and crazy, but kind of like principled common sense. And you've worked for David for 20 years. I wonder if you'd just like to reflect on his influence a little bit before we wrap up tonight.
So, yeah, I've worked for David Boaz, with David Boaz at the Cato Institute for 20 years. I knew about him before then. And because even before I started working there, he was already a giant in the libertarian movement. And to give you an idea, I was going through some memories of David, reminiscing after he passed last week. And I came across a text message that one of my research assistants sent to me that gives you an idea of how big a deal David Boaz was within Cato and within the broader liberty movement. She wrote to me, "David Boaz spoke to me for the first time in my life yesterday. It was only to ask if you were there, but still pretty significant." I mean, this is how much gravitas he had and how much we revered him. And I was, and I've been in Europe for the past 2 weeks. I wasn't there when he passed. We had a number of events where we reflected to him on his achievements and how much he meant to us personally as well. And so I did get to say goodbye to him. It is difficult that his funeral is today, the interment is today, and that I'm not there with my colleagues. But I was texting with my wife about David passing when I realized that if God had set me down and said to me, "Michael, I'm going to make for you your ideal mentor, someone who will push you, someone who will inspire you, someone who will give you a standard to which you can repair, and who will be your colleague and friend." I still don't think I could have imagined someone as wonderful as David, and I'm having a hard time believing that he's gone because it seemed like he was larger than life or death. You know, when someone so embraces and embodies a value that you hold so highly, like respect for the dignity of every individual human, and then applies that principle so consistently for decades and decades, even when it made him very unpopular, to stand up for the dignity of every last human being. He made a really strong emotional connection with me and with a lot of the people he touched over the years. So thanks for an opportunity to reflect on him.
Of course. That is a sad but probably beautiful note, I think, to end on.